preparing to live stream the meeting.
What is the name of our channel? Oh, I have to be logged in as me. Never mind.
Yeah. There you are. I see you.
Okay, but let me get into the.
Oh God, now I can hear myself twice. There we go. Yeah, it's working.
Okay, hang on. Yeah.
Do you want me to share the link on our page?
Well, hang on just a second.
Hi, Nola.
Calm down.
I'm going to see if I make you co-host, if that changes anything.
Okay.
Okay. No, it looks like it's still going. Hi, Nola.
Nola's there.
She is.
She's an early bird.
They catch the worms and the Pokemons.
Hello.
Hi, good morning. How are
Good
you?
morning. Good.
Good.
I had to look and look for my for the Zoom information because I expected it to be on the email.
Oh yeah, you had to click on the PDF.
It was in the email on October 30th.
Yeah, it was in the first one.
I guess I didn't go look, or didn't have it back that far because I went back all the way as far as I could. But what I did is finally look on the email. I mean, on the snail mail.
And, yeah, you just type it in.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your effort.
Yeah. I was like, maybe I didn't get reelected.
No, you're here with us.
Okay, good. All right, I'm gonna go. I'll be back shortly.
Okie doke. Okay. There's a little bit of delay, but it's not too bad.
Okay, why is it showing as an upload, Joanne?
Huh?
On the thing, it's showing as an upload. Are we going to record it for posterity?
I don't know. Why does it say it's an upload? What are you looking at?
I'm on YouTube.
I don't have any idea why it would say that because I'm logged in as the channel, so it probably looks different for you. So let me open another browser window and be logged in as me and go there and see what it looks like. Oh, shoot, I want to log in. No, I think if I do that, it's going to log me out. I'm not going to mess with it.
Okay.
Let me see. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get. God, stop sending me stuff. Let's see here. If Becca's up.
Okay, so I've shared the YouTube link. Are we on Facebook as well?
No, just YouTube. Let's see if I can do Facebook also.
Okay.
Let's see here.
And I'm gonna work on the
No, it'll only let me do one or the other.
okay. Then I don't think we had coded it on the third LD as a Facebook event on Facebook.
Did you share the YouTube link on Facebook?
Shared the YouTube on the
Okay.
Facebook event.
Well, that should be good enough. People
And
can't go to the YouTube. That's
I added
stupid.
it, and I added it to the website. Okay, let me now look at the bylaws. Or actually, what I'll do is I'll do the sign in.
Hey, I just went back to that October 30th email and I don't see the Zoom information on there.
Okay, hang on.
Um, so
Rebecca said we look good on the YouTube. We're good to go. I had her check it.
It's in the call to meeting, Nola. It's in one of the attachments.
Yeah, you have to look at the attachment.
In the message, it says the Zoom information on the call letter.
I'm looking for the call letter. Well, as long as other people can find it.
It says that that attachment is call and proposed agenda with Zoom info is the name of the attachment.
Where is? Open this.
Oh, under November special meeting. No, that's 7.
It's the email on the 30th. It says call to meeting November 14. There were 7 attachments. One of them is called call and proposed agenda with Zoom info. Or with Zoom.
Well, maybe I have the wrong one, but I don't see it. So that's okay as long as other people can find it.
And then in the note that was sent out on November 10th by email, it had the cover letter to go with the grouping of proposed changes, and the Zoom information was in that as well.
Oh, let me look at that one because I don't see it in that one in the October 30th one.
On the November 10th one, that was
look at the November 10th one.
There were 2 attachments.
I got to get there first.
Okay.
November 10th. Oh, wait.
So I will be right back. I'm going to make a quick bio break before we start. What time are we starting? 10? I've got time.
10.
Jenny Siebert just called me a dinosaur. I'm not sure what that means.
It's a term of art.
Yeah, I asked her if she was going to attend, and she said she wants to, but she has moved to Montana, so she doesn't want to illegally vote. So she's not going to.
Has she changed her domicile?
I don't know if she has or not.
Her domicile, she's still eligible. If she has moved there with intent of never coming back, she's not eligible. But
yeah, she's not coming back.
She needs to tell me that.
No, I know. I told her.
Because if people don't communicate things, I can't do anything for them.
No, I told her. She knows. She's got a lot going on. At least she's got the integrity to be honest and forthright about voting and stuff. Not that not that I couldn't, I mean, I would be super happy and grateful for her to come and help us get these bylaws voted through, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully it'll be fast and easy and not painful.
Well, I don't know why, but I'm not getting I don't get that information at all, but I'm glad I got it on.
It was sent out in email form twice and
Yeah,
in.
I got both of the
Snail mail.
emails,
Snail
but I
mail
did.
twice.
Yeah, I got the snail mail and that's how I found it.
Yeah.
But I didn't get any, I got both of the emails, but for some reason, I'm not getting the attachments or
Okay.
whatever that went with them. So that's okay.
What's your email provider, Nola?
AOL.com.
I wonder if it stripped the attachments or something.
I don't know. I got all the.
I didn't even know they still had email. You're like vintage. That's awesome. I love it.
I know. Yeah, it started that way, and I was just like, oh man, it's just so comfortable. I don't want to change. So,
well, if it still works, why would you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. You remember they used to send the CDs, the AOL CDs?
Yes, I know. Yeah.
I got so many of them. I finally started just saving them, and I boxed them all up, and wrote and sent them back. And I wrote on the front of it in big permanent marker, "Stop spamming me." I never got another one.
That's all it takes.
I had like 20 some odd. I mean, it was a ridiculous amount of CDs.
Huh.
It's like, how many of these do you
That's
think I need?
ridiculous.
I only need one.
Huh.
Just silly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I was taking master's class at the time and or right around that time, and so I got that CD and plugged it in, and that's where I stayed with them for.
I had AOL for a while, and then I don't remember what I switched to. I switched to something else. But then when I started working for Enom, which was domain name registrar, they now are owned by a different registrar. But when I started working for them, I had my own domains, so then I just switched all my my own domain names.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Now with Gmail, it's free, so why? It's like.
Oh yeah, AOL is too now, but. But
yeah, do you remember they used to charge for everything?
Yeah. Yeah.
So funny how things have changed.
It's true. Okay, well, I'm in, so I'm not going to worry. Thanks anyway.
Yeah, no, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna put myself on mute. I'll be back shortly. So how are we going to do the voting again?
We're going to try to do polls, except for people who are on the phone.
Okay. Do you want me to run the polls also?
I've got the polls already set up. Can you see them?
Okay. Where would they
I've
be?
not,
Let's see
I've
here.
not, I've
Yep,
not.
I see them. I see it. I only see the first one.
Well, if you
I
do
can
the
do
poll
the
down,
drop
then
down.
if you
Okay.
do
Oh,
the
I
drop,
see them. Yep.
yeah.
That should work.
I think it should work, except that people who are on the phone and not on the software cannot participate.
No, I get it, but hopefully we can help them
Yeah.
make it work.
Yeah.
just got your other email.
Okay. That should be considered by most to be timely.
I would hope so. Are you just going to eyeball people as they come in for check-in?
Yeah, I think, can you check to see if we've got the waiting room active? I don't think we do because Nola was able to pop
No,
her.
we don't. Because otherwise she wouldn't have been able to do that.
Yeah.
Huh? Stop.
And I've just sent to you the Excel spreadsheet. I sent it to both SCMA as well as Joanne in Spokane.
Okay. Yep, I have it.
And it's in alphabetical order. And
Cool.
it's only showing the 51 people who were eligible to vote.
Got it.
And so when you are recording votes or attendance,
Yep.
enter 1 if they're present.
Okay.
And it'll scroll. If you scroll down, you'll see the sum total.
Yep.
And the quorum is 13.
Okay.
So we have 51 PCOs.
Yep.
And 25%.
Cool.
And I left Jenny in because she's not communicated her resignation or the fact that she's moved to me.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
You have the groupings document that you can share on your screen.
The PDF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to modify it and add one more.
Okay.
Because we've got the issue that the state party procedures conflict with our bylaws for election.
Okay. You already put Nola in here. Okay, good.
Yeah, I got all the people that
Okay. And then there's other cover proposed. Grouping proposed changes to bylaws, that one, correct?
Pardon?
Grouping for voting purposes of proposed bylaws.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Okay. Got it. Make it bigger so people can read it. Hello, iPhone 406-583-6442. Oh, that's Patty. There she is. Hi, Patty.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine. How are you?
Fine. Living the dream, same as always.
Like clockwork.
That's
you
right.
and David.
Well, you know, somebody's got to do it.
Thank
Let me
goodness for
freeze
you.
this. with these. I wonder if that'll work. Sorry, I'm talking to myself.
I'm gonna put myself on mute so I can talk to my cats.
Okay. Why does it not do that? Okay. What in Excel hates me today
Why?
because it's not freezing the panes I'm telling it to freeze.
You're changing my thing?
I am,
Why?
because the columns are impossible to. There's no lines. And I can't.
There's more on mine.
Well, there's grid lines, but there's no lines. My eyes are. I have eye issues. All right. Sounds like someone else joined us. Let's see here. Hi, Mary.
Hello, Mary.
All right, there we go. That's better. Are you able to unmute yourself, Mary? Just want to make sure since we didn't hear you shout back. Hello. Either that or she logged in and walked away from her phone.
Codes is muting everybody when they first came in. I can't remember.
Yeah, but I just want to make sure that folks are unable to or are able to unmute themselves.
Okay.
If need be. She must not be at her computer. Looks like John has joined us. Hello,
Hey,
John.
Joanne.
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, I'm trying to help Marcia get in, so I'm walking.
Okay. Yeah, she said that you were going to help her. Thank you for doing that.
So I'm here.
And Joanne, I just sent to your email addresses the updated groupings memo or groupings.pdf
Is it a new one?
with a new one at the very bottom in red.
Okay. I will update that one. There we go. Okay. Got it. Good morning, John.
Good morning, John.
Good morning.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing okay.
Good. Good to see you with air quotes. It always feels weird to say see you when we can't see each other.
Joanne, do you have the ability to turn your video on?
I do, but I'm not going to.
John, do you have the ability to turn your video on?
It works better about it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because we played around with the settings. And I just want to make sure that people have the option.
Yeah, I'm also host, so I can do whatever I want.
Okay, and I'm still co-host?
Yeah.
Okay,
I have the power.
at least for now.
For now. I will relish it and take it where I can get it.
Joanne, if you want to run for chair, you're more than welcome to.
That would be a hard no.
And Joanne, I'll have open on my machine. Hello, Steve. I'll have open on my machine, Joanne, the updated version of the bylaws, just in case, assuming that
Okay.
all the proposed changes are accepted, just in case there's any motions from the floor to change something.
Okay, cool.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm running around to get some coffee or something before 10, so.
Did you stop sharing your screen, Dave? Or what happened? Where'd he go? Where did everybody go? Dave, where'd you go? We lost you. Did the Million Mega March come take over our Zoom call? Can anyone else hear me? Can somebody please pipe in and let me know that I'm not it's not me that's broken here? Oh, there's Charles.
I'm back, Joanne. What were
There you
you
are.
thinking that you were broken?
Oh, you went away and then everybody else was muted and I just didn't know if it was me that somehow did something.
I can hear you.
It was a coup d'etat.
You guys just wanted me to sit here and talk to myself and feel like an idiot. That's what it is. It's all right. I'm fairly adept at that, so it's not a new feeling.
Yeah, and so just so everybody knows, we're going to attempt a non-unique ID meeting, since that seems to be the principal problem that takes everybody so long. And so as you're coming in, Joanne is recording your attendance, and then we'll do a roll call verbally just to get going. And we're also keeping, if we recognize someone as not a PCO, if the Zoom information got inadvertently shared, we'll boot them. But the meeting is being live streamed on the Third LD YouTube channel. So we have gotten with it, so to speak.
Sort of. We're trying.
We think.
We're trying. It's the effort that counts, right? So Charles joined us. Hooray. Hello, Charles.
Hello.
Good to see you this morning.
Hello, Andy.
Hi, Andy.
Oh, there's
Bill. Three more till we have quorum. Oh, there's John. And Marcia.
Joanne, did the updated groupings memo come through in PDF form to you?
It did. I got it.
Super.
Super duper. Hi, Marcia.
And John
There's
Lehman.
Dan. Yep, I got him.
Bill, we're going to be using non-unique ID. Joanne has an old-fashioned spreadsheet, and as people come into the room, she's marking you as here, so that we're hopeful that that will save us time compared to the county party meeting where it took forever to get people logged in.
Yep, we now have quorum.
We don't think we're going to be able to do that for the reorganization meeting, but at least for this meeting, we're thinking that given the fact that we have a maximum number of 51 people, we're thinking that that's probably going to be a reasonable way to record attendance. Hello, Marcia. Hello, Candy.
Hello.
We have 14 now, so.
Are we doing vote by email or?
We are going to be using the polling feature inside Zoom, which records votes attached to people's names. And if that fails, we'll do a roll call vote, and we've got the spreadsheets set up for that as well.
Sounds like that's almost a roll call vote itself.
The polling feature?
Yeah.
Well, it's sort of cool. It's sort of cool because the polling feature it does the yes, no, or abstain. And then once everybody's allegedly voted, it does the calculations automatically for us.
Nice.
And the poll, Bill, you asked the question. The polling feature is hidden until we activate it. And so it'll appear on the screen when we activate it. And if it fails miserably, because it is after all Zoom, we have a backup spreadsheet where we'll just do a roll call vote.
David,
Yes.
I'm trying to help Marcia and she couldn't get her tablet to work, so she's on her phone and she can hardly hear. And how will polling happen from the phone?
Polling, we will ask the people who are on the phone to vote verbally during the meeting.
Okay.
We'll just manually add them in, because polling does not work for people that are on the phone.
Dave, it's John Lemus.
Hello, John.
Are you aware the meeting is being live to YouTube?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
We caused that to happen.
Okay, awesome.
And shockingly, John, we've even shared the YouTube information on the Facebook event as well as the Third LD website.
Luna.
Transparency is important.
Did you find us on YouTube, John?
No, there's just there's a thing in the top left corner that says live on YouTube.
Oh, I didn't notice that. So yes, we are. Well, it's sort of time delayed. I think there's probably a 5 or 10 second delay from a actual perspective. But yes, we are intending to broadcast because the meeting itself, we're not letting people in the room unless they're PCOs.
Okay, who's ever talking? We can hear you. You're not on mute.
Mary Winkus,
I think Mary Winkus, you're sharing with us.
Yeah.
And I can mute you, but I don't like to mute people.
Oh, I can mute her
unless
too.
I have to. Yeah, you should be able to as
I just
co-host.
did. Yeah.
I'm in favor of forced muting until people have the floor. Just to make it
During the
flow.
meeting, yes. Definitely during the meeting, that's, I think, appropriate. So we're still at 14.
Oh, Lauren Schubring just joined us.
Oh, Lauren just joined us. Awesome. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Steve Kirby, are you back from your coffee acquisition trip?
I am.
When we get to the proposed agenda, would you be so kind as to consider doing the flag salute for me?
I guess. You mean the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I don't have a flag to show.
I do, if you want me to.
Yeah, if you could display that for that flag salute, that would be great.
Sure. That'd be no problem.
Don Lemus, I think you're the master of Zoom because you're constantly reporting on Zoom activities on Facebook. What else should we be doing from a best practices perspective, from your perspective?
The only other thing that I would say that we could be doing, and this is for people with disabilities who may be watching the Zoom on YouTube, and it would be time intensive, is closed captioning. So Zoom has a feature where you can either closed caption yourself or assign someone to type the captions during the meeting.
And I saw, John, I saw something about that as I was playing around with settings last night. Is there a low-cost program that can caption for us on an add-on basis?
I think once the video is finished on YouTube as well, that it may automatically caption itself. But there might be people watching in real time.
But not in real time.
Right.
Okay, so maybe you and I can chat after today for planning for the reorganization meeting.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And figure out what would be a good way to do things.
Cool.
Okay. Hello, Raphael. How are you? Welcome.
I am good. I never really talk at Zoom meetings. I'm like, how do I even do that?
You figured it out. Good job. So for those like Brooke who are asking, how do we check in? We are manually checking you in as you join the call. And Joanne Fleming is maintaining the Excel version of a spreadsheet that normally if we were meeting in person would be used to generate the sign-in sheet. And as we go through the process, we'll probably do a roll call just to make sure we've captured everybody. And unlike the county party meeting where if you did not log in by a certain time, you were ineligible to vote, because we're not using that voting system. If somebody comes in late, they'll be recorded as attending and they will be permitted to vote. Only PCOs, elected and appointed, are going to be permitted to be in the Zoom room. Everyone else can watch the event on YouTube. If you want to refer friends and family and other people who might be intensely interested in today, if they head over to thirdld.org, thirdld.org, and there's an event there, which is our PCO meeting, and the link to the YouTube channel is embedded in the event. It's also embedded on the Facebook event for today as well. So we're gonna see how it goes. I don't think we're gonna be able to do it for the reorganization meeting on December 5th, because that meeting we have to have higher security standards. But for today's meeting, we're gonna see if we can save some time compared to last week's county meeting, and just do attendance, sort of like the old-fashioned but now new Zoom way. And so, Joanne, does your spreadsheet show 17 peoples having been checked in?
Yeah, hold on. Sorry, I was pulling up the American flag.
Oh, okay.
So I think Raphael and Brooke were the only two that, yep, I have 17.
Oh, cool. And then, Marcia, you're still having difficulties with respect to using your tablet, right? Sounds like it. So, Marcia, if you can hear me, what I'd like you to do is to write down Joanne's cell phone number.
Oh, she has it.
Oh, okay. Then, Marcia, when we're voting, if you can text your vote to Joanne on each time we vote, and that way we'll get you recorded.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Because we're reasonably sure Marcia may have difficulty using the polling feature.
From a phone, I think that would be hard.
From a phone, yeah. And we
Hey,
just
David, I'm on the phone with Marcia too, and she can't hear you, so I'm going to relay that.
okay.
Oh, hi, Brooke. You're all checked in. I'm checking folks in manually on the spreadsheet. I don't know if you heard that already. Sorry.
Yeah, and that was in chat, and I responded.
Sorry. I was, like I said, I was getting the American flag ready to go.
No worries. Thanks.
Yeah. And Joanne, we lost somebody because we went down to 16.
Who did we lose? Let's see here.
Oh, it might have been John.
I think so. Yeah, he's back. Now we have 18, 17. Perfect. Christina. Hello, Christina. Now we have 18. Hooray.
Okay, I've got about a minute before 10 o'clock. And so since we don't have to do any check-in, when my computer hits 10 o'clock, we'll go ahead and start, if that's okay for everybody. And Joanne, just as a heads up, before the flag salute, I'll ask you to indicate who we have. If you can read the names of the people that you have checked in, and we'll just do that as a reality check against everybody.
Absolutely.
Okay, we've got one more person just joining us. That's Annie Matla. Welcome, Annie. And it is 10 o'clock. And just as a reminder, we're not going to do the unique voting IDs this morning. Joanne Fleming has been recording the attendance of people as they enter the room. We're going to do, she's going to report as to whether or not you have been checked in. And after that report, we'll cross-check the number of participants against the master spreadsheet that Joanne is maintaining and use that as our sign-in. So Joanne, if you could go ahead and read down the spreadsheet, it's in alphabetical order
Yep.
by last name. And if you could do that, we'll start the credentialing process.
You just want me to read the folks that are here, correct?
The ones that are here, and then
Okay.
afterwards, if someone is here but did not hear their name, if you could unmute yourself and advise us, or send a text message to Joanne, and Joanne, as part of the process, if you could give out your cell phone number, that would be great.
Yep, it's 206-858-1168, and I just put it in the chat also. So John Alder,
Here.
Marcia Curlis, Joanne Fleming, that would be me, Bill Foreman, David Green, Charles Green, Nola Hanson, Patty Irvin,
Here.
Steve Kirby, Candy Craig, Dan Lambert, John Lemus, Annie Matlow, Brooke Matson, Andy McGee.
Here.
Sorry, I'm going so fast. Christina, I'm always going to mispronounce your last name. I'm so sorry. Momono. There we go. Raphael Richardson, Lauren Schubring, and Mary Winkus.
And Chris Crowder just joined us as well.
Chris Crowder just joined us. Awesome. He is now, oh, Christina, there we go. Yep. Chris is now marked as in attendance as well.
Okay, and so Zoom says we have 20. How many do your spreadsheet show as attending?
20.
Okay. And so just as a reminder, if you are new to Zoom, you can go down to the bottom of your screen or device, show the participants list. That'll show you the participants. I believe we have turned the chat feature on. And so that you can chat, although if you chat in the chat feature, it is not being monitored for purposes of the meeting. So anything you say is not going to be in the form of a motion. You can only make motions verbally. And to unmute yourself, if you go to your picture, hit, there's the ability to unmute yourself there. You also have the ability to rename yourself. And if you are on the phone, you can toggle between *6. *6 will unmute you and then remute you if you do it again. Is there anybody that has any questions about Zoom or the operations of Zoom and how it will impact the meeting? Okay, I see Dan Lambert, you have an American flag that is displayed. Joanne, if that's okay for you, we'll use Dan's flag and not the one that you have to do. And Steve Kirby, if you could give the flag salute, please.
I don't see his flag, but okay, I had a video with a flag. It's okay.
Okay.
Can everyone see Dan's flag? I can't see it.
I think it's because you're functioning in that role, Joanne. You should be able to.
Nope,
this is Candy. I don't see the flag either.
Okay, then Dan, we're going to go ahead and let Joanne roll her taped version.
All right, hold on. Now I closed
it. As soon as you see that, feel free to start.
Okay. Well, you want to stand or place your hand over your heart or both? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Steve.
There we go.
And we just had someone join us, Joanne.
Yep, hold on, I gotta get in there, see who it is. Looks like it is our good friend Marion.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Marion.
And so, Marion, you have been logged in and recorded as a credentialed attendee. And just as a reminder, anyone else who joins the meeting who is a PCO will have the opportunity to vote on the bylaws amendments and any other action that occurs at the meeting. So at this point, the proposed agenda was distributed on October 30th by email and snail mail, and a supplemental email with groupings of consideration for proposed changes was sent out by email on November 10th, as well as snail mail. I do suggest that you refer to whichever version, whether it's the paper version that you received or the electronic, whichever is most comfortable for you. And at this point, I would like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda as proposed.
So moved. Joanne Fleming,
Se-
3109.
Second, Andrew McGee, 3321.
Are you taking notes, Dave, or is someone else taking notes?
I'm gonna see if I do not have a great ability to take notes while running the
Yeah, I have
meeting.
too much going on, or I'd do it.
Do we have the ability to record, Joanne?
Yep, we should be able to record as long as that's cool with everybody.
I'm going to go ahead and record, and I'm gonna hit the record button. It shows as we are recording to the cloud. So the motion to approve the agenda was made by Joanne Fleming, and it was seconded by Andy McGee. Is there any discussion on the motion to approve the agenda as proposed? Without objection, the proposed agenda shall be considered approved. At this point, we're going to move directly into proposed changes to the bylaws. Bylaws were sent out in 3 different formats. They were sent out as they exist now, as they will exist if all the proposed changes are accepted by the body, and they were also sent out in the form of a red line. The red line version is the color version. I think it's 6 or 7 pages long that shows all the changes that are being proposed. And I have asked that on November 10th, I sent out a grouping of proposed changes to try to facilitate discussion, because I think the first 2, there may be some discussion and questions, and some PCOs might have concerns with the bylaws. The balance of the bylaws, I think, are reasonably straightforward. Do note, and Joanne, if you could scroll all the way down to the bottom of the document that you've posted. The state party sent out proposed reorganization rules to local party leaders after the documents were sent to you. And the procedures they are suggesting for virtual reorganization meetings do not play well with our bylaws. And so I am proposing that we consider in the last grouping of bylaws a new section that basically says, and I'm just going to read it, notwithstanding the above, and this is in the section of our bylaws that talk about how we nominate and elect officers. So notwithstanding the above, in the event that a meeting is held under the provisions of Article 7, Section 1, Subpart C, relating to the holding of an in-person meeting as unlawful or impossible, the body may adopt rules for the nomination and election of officers that differ from these procedures. In such an event, prototype rules issued by the Washington State Democratic Party shall be used as the preliminary basis for such rules. And so just as a heads up, in order to allow us to adopt prototype rules for the reorganization meeting, which will be held on Saturday, December 5th, I think that we need to add this section into the bylaws that will permit us to adopt the prototype rules that have been recently sent out by the state party.
Wait a second. Those rules, the section D you just added there, seems like you can invoke it though at any time for a Zoom meeting though. Because pretty much right now, they're all meetings are really unlawful or not allowed because of COVID.
Right, but Raphael, what the problem is, it's not in the ability to have a reorganization meeting by Zoom, because that's contemplated already by our bylaws being changed. The rules right now contemplate that only speeches will be permitted And the state party's prototype rules indicate that written statements, that an LPO, a local party organization, can use written statements in lieu of speeches. And so by adding this in, it basically gives us the ability that, for example, if someone wants to run for elective office, but their technology does not permit them to speak before the body at the reorganization meeting, if we adopt the version that asks for written statements, it permits people to run for office and share information about themselves in written form, whereas our existing rules contemplate that that's going to be done in the form of a verbal speech at the meeting. And that's the reason why I'd like to change it to give us flexibility to make it easier for people to run for office, even if their technology does not permit them to speak at the meeting, and make sure that our procedures contemplate that. Because right now they don't contemplate that for the actual nomination and election process. Any other questions? Okay, Joanne, if you would be so kind as to scroll back up to the very top. And so of all the groupings, we've got 7 different groupings. The first grouping relates to Spokane County Executive Board representatives. And if you go to Article 5 of the red line, and so the county party at last week's county party PCO meeting voted to amend its bylaws to permit legislative districts to send representatives to the county party's executive board instead of requiring the state committee members to be both representatives to the county party's executive board as well as to the state central committee. And approving this change would implement the option for the third LD to have 2 additional people active as officers of the LD, and corresponding changes to our bylaws include the composition of the LD's executive board. It adds these 2 people to the executive board and defines the role of the county party's executive board, the LD's representatives to the county party's executive board. And so what I would like to do is ask for someone to move the approval of amendments related to grouping number 1. And at that point in time, we'll open it up for discussion.
So moved. Joanne Fleming, 3109.
Is there a second?
I'll second John Lemus, 3202.
Okay. And Joanne, would you like to, as the maker of the motion, would you like to speak in favor of its adoption? And then what we'll do is we'll alternate back and forth between for and against. And given the small number of people, we'll allow each person to speak once. But if somebody wants to speak for and there's no other people that speak against, we'll close discussion. But if we get off kilter, but to the extent that are views that can alternate between for and against, we'll keep going until everybody's had a chance to talk.
Great. So I am in favor of this change. And I'm echoing really bad, so it's going to be hard for me to talk coherently because I keep hearing myself. Basically, what this does is allows us to elect 2 representatives instead of, by default, them being the state committee members to the Spokane County Democrats Executive Board. Not only does this free up state committee members who tend to have a lot more on their plates than other folks to do a lot of the other work that they're tasked with doing, but it gives us the opportunity to get more folks involved. It gives the opportunity for kind of a mentorship kind of a situation. If someone's looking to get more involved and isn't really 100% sure what that entails, it's a great opportunity for newer folks to jump into an official role, within the party. So I think this is a great way to get more people involved and spread the wealth. I urge you to vote in favor of these changes.
Thank you, Joanne. And if you could have your spreadsheet reflect that William Kilpatrick has joined the meeting and has now been credentialed.
Perfect, thank you.
Dan, I noticed in chat that you would like to speak against the motion. And if you would like to take yourself off mute, we would be pleased to hear the reasons for your opposition.
Okay, the part that concerns me is section 1, as it starts off the elected officers of this organization. Did we ever resolve this to the RCW that has been discussed on off for several years on the fact that we have to have the gender issue resolved? And last I checked, the law hadn't been changed.
And Dan, is that in the form of a question, or does that conclude your?
It's in the form of a question at this point. And
okay, and if I might be able to, with your permission, the state party has advised that that legislative districts may elect officers under their bylaws, and the state party and national party rules generally require that two individuals may not share the same gender identity, but there is nothing that are representing the same office, but there is nothing in the RCW with respect to gender identity. It's only from national and state party rules.
I understand that. However, does this language that we want to insert go counter to what is current RCW on as it pertains to our specific organization?
No, there's nothing that in state law that prohibits us from doing this.
Okay. That was my question.
Okay. Do you have any
order? Sorry.
One moment, please, Joanne.
Yep.
Dan, do you have any other statements to make in opposition?
Well, that was a question, and it's not an opposition. I just didn't know if we ever got the RCW cleared up.
Okay.
And you're saying that we did.
But no, I'm saying that there is nothing that I'm aware of in state law that prohibits the Democratic Party from doing what we are proposing to do with respect to our bylaws.
Okay, if that's what you're saying, then I have to believe that because I don't have the RCW in front of me.
Okay. Joanne, you had a point of order?
I do have a point of order. It's in direct reference to Dan's question. This is not in opposition to any RCW or any other rules. I've gone through these with a fine-tooth comb with David McDonald, and they are completely within the scope of the law and within the state charter and bylaws. So we are good to go.
Okay. Is there anyone else that might be wanting to potentially speak in opposition? If you, and I'm just asking at this point to figure out whether I need to recognize someone to speak in favor. And so if anyone would like to speak in opposition, if you could unmute yourself or put a note in the chat, or Marcia, if you're having difficulty, if you could let Mary Winkus know, then we will see whether anyone has any opposition. There apparently being no further opposition, I'm going to close discussion. And this will be our first poll. And the first poll is going to, it's asking, shall the third LD amend its bylaws to permit 2 representatives to be elected to serve on the Spokane County Democrats Executive Board? You have a choice. I believe you have a choice between yes, no, and abstain. Given that this is the very first time that we are using this feature, if you have any difficulties whatsoever in the software, let us know, and we will switch over to a roll call vote. And Marcia, if you could let Mary Winkus know what your choice is, or let Joanne know directly, we will add that in manually to the results.
Yep, my vote and your vote, Dave, are going to have to be added manually as well. As hosts, we cannot vote in the poll.
Okay.
You know my vote.
Yep.
It's a yes.
And so right now it's showing 16 of 20 having participated. I cannot tell. Now we have 17. Joanne, can you see who the 20 are? Because it looks as though we might have lost someone.
No, I can't. Marcia votes no.
Okay. And
That's 20.
We've got 19 out of 20. How many participants are in the room, Joanne?
It says 22.
Well,
So-
add David and Joanne.
And so the difference between 20 and 22 must be you and I.
Yep.
So we have one person who has not yet voted.
Would that be the lady that's having part, Marcia?
Yeah,
She
that might be
voted.
Martha.
Yep, there we go.
Yep,
22.
there we go. And so 19 of 20 people have voted. We've got 17 as yes, plus Joanne as a yes, plus me as a yes. We have one person as a no on the, let me see if I end polling, whether it'll show the results. Here, results. Can everybody see?
Yeah.
Voting no in the poll, plus Marcia voted no on verbally. Is that correct, Joanne?
Correct.
And then we have one abstention. So this particular vote with 22.
David, this is Nola, and I don't want to say anything against any of it, but there's just a correction in in the way it's stated. And under membership, the very first number one. Oh no, it's under membership number one. Any person, and then it goes on to read is a member, and there's an S at the end of it that seems like was added, but it shouldn't be.
So Nola, take a look at the clean copy, either the paper version.
Sorry.
You received.
Yes.
That's going to be the easiest. That's how I look to see if there were typos. And that particular section would be under grouping number 7. So we've got plenty of time to look for typos.
Okay, good, thank you.
And so out of the 22, 15 affirmative votes. Let's see, 22. 15 affirmative votes are required for adoption. Having received 19 affirmative votes, motion 1 is not present. And Mary, we're only doing that from the perspective of the poll results are public. We can share the results by individual afterwards, but in order to have transparency as part of the recorded document, none of the votes are secret. And so everyone will be able to see how everybody voted, whether it's by doing Marcia's vote verbally or by sharing the results otherwise.
I'm sorry, it's making me cringe. You're only pointing out Marcia's vote, and I don't think that's right. I know they're public, but you don't have to say hers aloud over and over.
Mary, I also announced my vote publicly since I could not vote, and Joanne could not vote as part of the poll as well.
Right, but you guys gave permission. I'm not sure she did.
Well, it's a public meeting and the votes are not secret. And so if you would like, Mary, you can ask that we do a recorded roll call vote for the rest of the votes. And that way everybody's vote will be shared. Is that what you would like to do? That's perfectly fine.
No, I just kept cringing every time you said one person's name about 6 times.
And I also mentioned that Joanne voted the way she did and Mary voted. All I'm trying to do
Never
is
mind.
make sure that everybody's vote is recorded and also acknowledge that none of the votes today are private or secret. Okay, grouping number 2 is precinct coordinators, which are defined in Article 3, Section 2, subsection A, defines the role of precinct coordinator as someone who shall serve as a PCO but does not reside in the precinct they represent, and that definition is contained in county party bylaws. This amendment clarifies that they do not have a vote at the third LD level. This was not clear before the prior version of the bylaws. And just as an aside, these individuals do not have a vote at county party meetings. So only elected and appointed PCOs may vote at both the third LD level if this is approved. And we can have precinct coordinators, but precinct coordinators, keep in mind, are individuals who are not resident in the precinct they represent. And it clarifies that if we do have precinct coordinators in the third LD, they do not have a vote at PCO meeting. Is there someone who would like to move the adoption of bylaws amendment number 2?
I think Dan has a point of information before this.
Okay, I'm not watching chat, so if somebody has a point of information, they need to speak up and unmute themselves. Dan, do you have a point of information?
Yes, under Article 2, is that a separate bundle? It seems like we're starting in the middle of the bylaws changes and working both directions, or how's that happening?
We're working based on the groupings document that was sent out, Dan. It was sent out in snail mail form on November 10th, as well as sent out by email.
So I guess I could look at that, but can you just tell me if we're going to be reviewing language changes in Article 2?
Article 2 is currently in the Section 7, other changes that we're going to be considered at the very end as a lump sum.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
That answers my question.
And the reason the grouping memo was sent out is to try to focus discussion on topics. And they were grouped the way where I thought there might be more discussion is up front in case we got bogged down in time, and less discussion on what I considered to be, at least to me, were less controversial items. And so if you've got your grouping memo, Joanne has it up on the screen. If you're able to see the screen, that's how we're going through things. And so I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt grouping item number 2 and everything that relates to it.
I'll make this motion. This is Patty Irvin, 3211.
Patty, you has moved, and is there a second?
Second, Andrew McGee, 3321.
And seconded by Andy. And Patty, would you like to speak in favor of the motion?
Sure. So this is, to me, this just makes complete sense that all this is doing is clearing up and making clear who gets to vote and who doesn't get to vote. Precinct coordinators can't vote. So I'm in favor of this. To me, it just cleans up the language.
Okay. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Not hearing or seeing interested in speaking in opposition, we'll move to polling question number 2. Oops. And I'm typing the motion. Hang on. And so for those that are on the able to, go ahead and vote. And Mary Winkus, if you would like to communicate to Joanne the vote.
I already did. I put it in chat to Joanne.
Okay. And Joanne, have you seen that?
Yes, I have. You want me to chat it back to you?
No, but if I'm going to be voting in favor.
Yeah,
And
so am I.
if you could incorporate the results there, then we'll be fine.
Yep.
We've got 2 more people that need to vote in the polling.
If anyone's having trouble with the poll, just chat either David or myself privately and we can record your vote.
Yeah, Joanne, if you could ask them to chat you because I'm working on something else right now.
Scratch that, chat me, not Dave.
Okay.
So now we're missing 1.
Is anyone else interested in voting? We've got 1 vote outstanding. That vote, you've got about another 30 seconds. We'll take it to 2.5 minutes.
Sorry, I just, I had lost the vote page. And I just wanted to, it says that, I just want to understand real quick that committee, what was it? Community organizers or something would not have a vote. And I just want to understand what they mean.
So a PCO coordinator is someone, if we have an empty precinct without anyone who resides in that precinct willing to serve, a PCO coordinator can be appointed to do the work of a PCO in that precinct. By definition, they do not reside in the precinct. And we're proposing to clarify in our bylaws that if someone is a PCO coordinator, meaning they are a person who does not reside in the precinct, they shall not have a vote on any business in front of our organization.
Okay, can someone serve in 2, PCO roles by that?
No, they would, if they live in a precinct that has an opening, they could be a PCO. I suppose you could have a PCO coordinator that is not resident in a precinct that covers more than 1 precinct that they are not resident in, but by practice, I have not done that.
Okay, so that person only represents that precinct and not also their own.
Correct.
Okay, yep, then I'm in favor.
Okay, and so Joanne, if you could record the verbal votes that you have, and I will end the polling and show the results. So Joanne, we have 17 polled yes. How many?
+4.
+4?
Yep.
So we have 21 with 1 vote no. And
Dan Lambert has a question.
Yeah, just a second. That represents 95.5%. And that bylaws amendment has been adopted. And Dan, you have a question.
I got it answered. Thank you.
Okay. I did note that in the groupings, I did not include something that I would like to consider up front, which is the issue of non-registered voters being able to serve as elected officers of the 3rd LD. And that proposed change is in just a second here. Article 5, where it says third legislative district officers. Under our old version, it said they were required to be a registered voter. And we are proposing to take out the words registered voter and permit individuals who, for example, might be DACA recipients or individuals who have been convicted of a felony who would not be able to be registered voters unless they meet the terms of those rules. We have proposed changing the bylaws to reflect that such individuals may be eligible to run for office. And I'm going to add that as grouping 2A, which does not appear on the grouping document. It was inadvertently omitted. And ask for a motion to approve that in a second, and then we'll open it up for discussion.
Dan
Andrew
Lambert had
McGee.
his hand up first. Sorry.
Okay, Dan, do you have a point of order or point of information?
Well, I was just, actually, it's a point of information. So we could have someone appointed to an organization that's a minor and an officer at the same time.
And so I think, why don't we get a motion on the floor and then I'll answer your question if that's okay?
That's fine.
Okay.
Andrew McGee, 3321. I move to adopt 2A.
Joanne Fleming, 3109. I second the motion.
And so Dan, to your question, if someone is a minor, they would also be potentially a non-registered voter. And yes, this would permit them to potentially run for office. They would not be eligible to serve as a voting member of the body because state law governs who may be a precinct committee officer, and precinct committee officers must be a registered voter in the precinct in which they represent. And so a minor, for example, let's say a 17-year-old would not be able to serve as a precinct committee officer, but they, under this proposed change, they could potentially serve as an elected officer of the body. Does that handle your point of information?
Well, that's a very, very good question. And
so Dan, does it answer your question? Because if you would like to use that as opposition to the motion, that's fine. But all I'm looking for is, have I answered your point of information?
You've answered that specific point of information. So I do have another one, another question. So this language also would allow for an illegal immigrant to participate as an officer.
It allows for anyone who does not have registered voter status, which could be they are a DACA recipient. They could be a non-citizen by other means. Yes, anyone who does not have non-registered voter status. Any other points of information, Dan?
No, I think I'm satisfied with your two answers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Andy, I believe you moved to approve. And so if you would like to speak to the motion, and then we'll open it up for speakers in opposition, and if needed, go back and forth.
Thank you, David. So following a county level discussion on a similar bylaw change, I very shortly after the meeting received a phone or a message from someone in my precinct who was very concerned about excluding DACA recipients. And they pointed out that people who spoke against the motion at the county were more than willing to allow to have them working on campaigns as key staff, have them provide access to elected officials and things like that. These are people who are having to do the work of the party and they should have a voice. As to the felons, really all that it would exclude are felons who have not paid their fees and who are currently on state supervision. For minors, we've had a minor as a state committee member from another LPO. I know them. I've sat and had lunch with them at a state meeting. Illegal immigrants, I don't see a long line of illegal immigrants signing up to run for party offices. But if they want to be represented and seek to, I would be okay with having PCOs hear their case and make their own decisions.
This is John Lemus. I'd just like to raise a point of personal privilege.
Yes, John.
I hate that I'm on a Dem call and we're using the term illegal immigrant. That should not be something that we are doing at all.
Thank you, John. Is there?
I would like to clarify, I don't mean it as a pejorative term, just as their presence in relation to law.
And so, Dan, I'm presuming that you would like to speak in opposition. Is that correct?
Yes, that would be correct.
Okay. You have the floor.
Well, having minors serve as officers puts us in a very challenging position insofar as legal ramifications. And because they are minors and they are treated differently under the law. And we give our organization exposure to all different types of potentials if we allow this as written. And, you know, if you're a DACA recipient, that's wonderful. I'm glad you're here. I think that if you want to participate in our organization, that's wonderful. We have all kinds of room for people to volunteer and participate in our organization. You know, there is a pathway to citizenship, and you know, we have to look at the legal ramifications of doing some of the things that we do. They may sound wonderful, and they are. However, you know, we are in a unusual time in our history here, and we have to be cognizant of what ramifications can come down from our actions. This is a public meeting. And so as far as having undocumented immigrants, or what we are legally required to call them, or minors serving on our executive committee, I think is not so much ahead of our time, but it is dangerous for us to allow us to have this type of exposure, and I have to vote against it because it potentially endangers the organization.
Thank you, Dan. And now I'm just doing a quick check to see whether there is anyone else who is going to want to speak in opposition. If there is, I will note your name. And if there is not, we will move to a vote. So is there anyone else who might be wishing to speak in opposition to the motion?
Do you mean do you mean anyone else that wants to speak for the motion? Because he just spoke in opposition.
Yeah, so we've had one speaker in favor, who is the maker of the motion, Andy. We've had one speaker against. I'm just doing a check to see if anyone else might wish to speak against. If yes, then I'll call for a speaker in favor so that we maintain balance.
I would like to speak against.
You would like to speak against the motion?
That is correct.
Okay, and would someone else like to speak in favor?
I think William has his hand up. I also wanted to speak in favor.
So I'm not doing hands, but if you would like to speak in favor.
I do, but William has had his hand up, so I will defer to William if you would like to speak in favor.
Please unmute yourself and identify that you would like to speak in favor.
Thank you, Joanne. I'll yield my time to you.
Okay, so yeah, I would like to speak in favor. Just so folks know, I don't know if there's folks on this call who were not on the call last weekend. The DNC, our highest level organization in the Democratic Party, has a person who is not a registered voter serving on the DNC. They were nominated by Chair Perez and voted in by the body. I feel like if the DNC is okay with it, we as a local legislative district should be absolutely in support of this stuff. I think it's really offensive. Like Andy mentioned, we are more than happy to ask for their labor, but we don't want to give them any kind of legitimate office or voice, and that's just wrong. It's not who we are as a party, and it makes me sad that anyone would say, yes, please come work and do the hard work, but we're not going to give you a legitimate voice as an officer in the party simply because you cannot register to vote. I highly encourage everyone to vote yes on this bylaws amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dan, I note your point of information request. I'm going to call on Raphael to give his speech in opposition, and then because it's a point of information, I'll ask for your point of information after Raphael has spoken.
All right. I'm against this for the only reason that I am for DACA and even felons being able to be officers, but it's too broad, as in it does not exclude anyone that's willfully not voting. So it does not exclude, I would say, the Kanye West effect. Someone who has never bothered to register to vote and then comes in and wants to be an officer, who will not even vote currently, even though they have the ability to. And that's it.
Thank you. Dan, you had a point of information?
Well, yes, it's a two-parter. I think you might be able to answer it yes or no. Has the Washington State Democratic Central Committee as a body, the committee members, and also has the DNC, the voting membership, voted to approve language like we're putting into our bylaws into the state charter?
To the best of my knowledge, it's neither in the DNC charter nor is it in the state charter. I can speak to the issue that there is nothing in the state charter or either the national charter at the DNC level that requires that DNC members be registered voters. Hence, that's why there's an individual who is a non-citizen as a voting member of the DNC. And I do know that there is at least one member of the state central committee who is not a registered voter, who is representing a different legislative district as a state committee member. Does that answer your point of information, Dan?
When do you anticipate that this action will come before either one of the two bodies? I know we're in a pandemic and this language is new, and I'm not sure that the forums have
Point of order.
Yeah.
Point of order.
Yeah.
Yes. This needs to be in the frame of a question.
It is a question.
William, I was interpreting it as a question. And so it is my understanding from the state party parliamentarian that there is no requirement that the DNC change its charter, nor that the state party changes its charter, because these matters are up to local party organizations to determine how their bylaws read. And that is the reason for the proposed change here. Do you have another?
Sorry, Dave, may I speak to it as a member of the Rules Committee for the state?
As long as you are answering Dan's question, yes.
I am answering Dan's question simply in the same way that David McDonald answered the same question last weekend. There's nothing in the charter or bylaws that in the state or DNC charter or bylaws that explicitly prohibit a non-registered voter from participating, whereas in our bylaws we do, which is why we're requesting this change. There's no change that needs to be made on their side, but there is a change that needs to be made to allow it on our side, hence the reason for the bylaw amendment.
Dan, does that answer your question?
She stated her opinion. I disagree with it.
Well, Dan, does it answer your question?
I don't think so.
Okay. Do you have any follow-up questions as part of a point of information?
I do not, because it'd be speaking to the motion.
Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to add something in opposition? And Kristen, once I find out whether there is someone in opposition, I will call on you for your question. Kristen, go ahead with your question, please. You're already unmuted, so go ahead.
Okay. I can understand Dan's concern. I am curious. So, you know, basically a PCO would have to be approved to be in their position, correct?
I think I know where your question's going, Kristen. What I'd like to, so PCOs must be registered voters.
Mm-hmm.
However, someone who is running for elective office is not required to be a PCO. And so anyone may run for elective office in the 3rd LD as long as they are resident in the 3rd legislative district and consider themselves to be a Democrat. Does that answer your question, Kristen?
I think so. So I guess, you know, they're able to run to be a representative. So they would be, you know, voted in some form or fashion, even if they're not a PCO.
Yeah, it's quite possible for an elective officer of a local party organization or the LD to be elected as an officer, but they are not a precinct committee person. For example, Nicole Bishop, who is currently the county party chair, is not a precinct committee officer. And so she was elected chair of the county party without being a precinct committee officer, but only PCOs can vote. And at the reorganization meeting, which is principally where our officers are elected for a 2-year term, only elected PCOs may vote. And so anyone who considers themselves a Democrat and who is resident in the 3rd legislative district, if this bylaw is changed, may run for elective office. Currently, the rule is they must be a registered voter considering themselves to be a Democrat and resident in the 3rd legislative district. So what the proposed amendment is to remove the registered voter element of it and keep resident in the 3rd LD and keep considers themselves to be a Democrat.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition?
Kristen Crowder has a question.
She just did it.
Oh, did she? Okay, sorry.
That was the speaker.
Thank you.
And does anyone else have a point of information or a question?
I do.
And so it needs to be in the form of a question, and I'm happy to entertain a point of information and answer a question. William?
Yes, to your knowledge, do any of these people that would be unregistered voters increase the liability of the organization?
The organization, I can tell you as a chair, I cannot take action to expend money without the permission of either this body, the precinct committee officers, or the executive board. So from a practical perspective, any single officer, and one would assume that the chair is I'm going to call it the most powerful person in the local party organization. I can express my opinion as chair, but I cannot expend funds on behalf of the organization without checks and balances. So I would answer that question as it is asked in the negative. I do not believe that it is easy for registered voter status or no registered voter status to change the liability of the organization. Are there any other questions?
I have a question.
And could you
and I
identify
think,
yourself?
oh, I'm sorry. This is
There you
Nola
go.
Hanson, 3102.
Yep.
And I am, I think I'm asking Joanne because she was part of writing this. It sounds to me like this, our language that we're wanting, that's a part of this motion, is aligning us with the state and the DNC. Is that correct?
Essentially, yes, because there is no language in the DNC bylaws or charter or the state bylaws or charter that explicitly prohibits someone from participating because they are not a registered voter.
So
that's what we are remedying with this bylaw update. Yes, that is not an opinion, it is fact.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Nola.
One last call for questions.
Here.
Go ahead, Andy.
Andrew McGee, 3321. Okay, so asking for your personal, or based on your personal conversations with parliamentarians and your position on the DNC and state chair, or vice chair, given that there are members who are not registered voters, indicating an absence of need for the state or DNC to do so, would you anticipate them ever addressing this issue?
Answering the question, I do not believe that the DNC is likely to act to make a change to its existing documents, nor is the state party likely to act to make a change to its existing documents. Does that answer your question?
It does, thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay, none appearing. I shall move to a vote. This is motion 2A. Shall the third LD amend its bylaws to permit individuals who are not registered voters to serve as elected officers? And Joanne, if you could receive from Mary Winkus or from Marcia directly their vote. My vote will be in favor.
Mine is as well. I'm in favor.
We currently have 16 out of 20. We need to get to 19 out of 20 to be complete. We currently have 18. We now have 19. Voting is closed.
Marcia is abstaining.
And so I'm going to ask you to simply, for the yes votes, how many yes votes do you have in addition to the 14?
2 more, so 16 total.
And do you have any no votes in addition to the 4?
No.
And do you have any abstentions in addition to the 1?
1.
Okay, so we have a total of 16 yes votes, 4 no votes, 2 abstentions. 15 are needed to pass this bylaws amendment, and it is so passed. Okay, the rest of the
Do you want to
amendment,
share the poll results, Dave?
I thought I had.
No, I got it.
Okay.
There we go.
And these are recorded with names. The rest of the amendments, items, groupings 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, including the 7G, the new one that we reviewed at the beginning, in my mind are relatively straightforward. And what I would like to do is to see if we might be able to consider them as a grouping of 3 through 7 in their entirety. I do know that I think Nola, you had a question on purpose.
It was under membership, but I see that on the not on the redlined one, but on the other one, it is corrected already.
Okay. And so what I'd like to do from a process perspective is if we can, and Dan, I will call on you as soon as once we get a motion on the floor, is I would like to see if I could get a motion to consider the balance of the changes, groupings 3 through 7, including the new 7G, as one item. Then we'll see what type of questions or issues there might be, and then poll items from there if needed. So at this point, the chair would like to entertain a motion to consider groupings 3 through 7G in their entirety as one vote.
So moved.
William
Bill Foreman, 3200.
William Kirkpatrick, 3312, second.
Okay, so we've got William Foreman making the motion and William Kilpatrick seconding the motion. And Dan, your hand is raised. Do you have a comment or a question?
Well, my question is, so I guess I didn't see this memo. I've been a little busy helping a lady get all her meds for her colorectal cancer. Her husband left her, and so I've been a little busy. So, but my question is, are the items and questions, including the language under Article 2, purpose and policies?
Yes, that would be included as part of this.
Okay, I have a question on that part of it, and I also have a question under Article 4.
Okay, why don't you go ahead with your questions at this point without objection?
Okay. We have new language in Purpose and Policies, Article 2, adding to it, and progressive candidates running for nonpartisan office appearing on ballots in the 3rd legislative district. And so I'm thinking with our nation as divided as it is right now, we very narrowly won the presidency, and we appear to be parsing our organization into groups, which is not in the purpose of our organization, nor is it in the spirit of the Democratic Party to hold out separately an organization or a group of voters. In this case, progressives is the word that is used. So, you know, I'm not sure if that's the far left of the people that consider themselves to be Democrats, or are we talking about the Progressive Party, which is certainly not the Democratic Party, and that is not spelled out here, and or is it understood? Thank you. That's one question in that section.
I'll address your question. It is designed so that we may support candidates of our party's choice that are running for Spokane City Council and Spokane School Board. That's the reason for the language. Did you have a follow-up question?
Well, I guess I need to know, are these people that you're speaking to on City Council, are they Democrats or are they members of the Progressive Party?
Dan, we don't run bipartisan office for Spokane City Council nor for Spokane School Board. And the language is there so that we may take a position either in favor or against of candidates running for City Council and School Board. Did you have a second follow-up question?
Well, I think you answered the question that these people can be whatever they want to be, and
it's a nonpartisan. You have a different question, Dan.
Well, I actually do, and that would be under vacancies, resignation, and removal. Item 3 specifically states now under removal, any elected officer may be removed by cause. So is that publicly elected or within our organization?
Elected officer is capitalized, which means it's defined, and it is defined in Article 5, Section 1.
So would you explain that to us in pertinent part then?
It's the chair, the vice chair, the two state committee members, and the 2 Spokane County Executive Board representatives. Those may be removed by the PCOs.
You've answered my question. Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone else have questions? Would anyone like to speak in opposition to the motion? There being no one willing to speak in opposition to the motion, we will go to polling motion 3, which is, shall the remaining proposed amendments to the bylaws be adopted?
Sorry, it's Nola again. And there's just a discrepancy between the red line where it did add the elected and where and in the plain copy that it doesn't say that. Sorry, Nola Hanson, 3102.
Yep, Nola, use the clean copy.
The clean copy, and it doesn't say elected.
In which section?
Article 5, number 3, removal. It just says any officer may be removed. And in the red lined one, elected is added.
And so what happens in the clean copy is the red line version with all changes accepted. And so in effect, we are voting on the clean copy because all the changes that were in the red line copy were accepted in order to produce the clean copy.
Okay, but I'm just asking about the discrepancy between where in the red lined copy, elected is supposed to be added, and in the clean copy, it is not added.
And so I'm seeing it in the clean copy. So if you could refer to the page and the section number, just to make sure that I'm seeing what you're not seeing.
Okay. It's, let me just make sure I got the right one, but it's under the bylaws of the 3rd Legislative District Democrats, amended by the 3rd Legislative District Precinct Committee officers, June 30th, 2018.
And so that's the old version of the bylaw.
No wonder. No wonder. Okay, then.
The new version at the top says as proposed on November 14th.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Too many papers for me.
Yeah, that's the downside.
I got it. Thank you. It's correct on that one. Thank you.
Okay, super.
So, David, you can record a yes vote for me and another yes vote for Marcia.
Okay, we lost one person, so we're down to 21. And
a yes vote for me, please. It didn't come, it doesn't, mine didn't get in there, sorry.
Okay. And so, Nola?
Yes.
Would you like to tell Joanne what you would like to do?
Yes, vote yes, please.
And so Joanne, I would like to vote yes as well.
So that would be 4.
And so we have
the person who left, I think they voted before they left.
Okay, that's fine. And so we've got 17 plus 4, yes? 1.
That is correct.
No. And 0 abstentions.
Yes, sir.
And the motion, all the remaining bylaws changes have been approved. And so that concludes our consideration of bylaws amendments. Our next meeting as an organization is going to be for elected PCOs only, and it will be PCOs elected either in May because they had no one run against them, or if you were in a contested race, you won your primary in August. And so there will be a call to meeting for the reorganization meeting. The reorganization meeting is a fancy term for basically saying we're electing our officers. And the officers that we will be electing will be a chair, a vice chair, 2 state committee members, and then 2 representatives to the county party's executive board. There is nothing that prohibits anyone from running for more than 1 office. But we now have 6 elected officers as opposed to the 4 elected officers that we had before. And that call will be sent out to elected PCOs only, both in snail mail version as well as email. I am working with the state party to see if we can also, with the issues that we've had with unique identifiers, whether we can also use some type of texting program so that we don't end up with ballots getting stuck in Comcast spam folders or things like that. So we may be using texts to communicate the voting things, but we're likely to have to use what we did at the county party's special meeting in July, as well as at the county party last week with those unique identifiers, just because the procedures for a reorganization meeting are a little bit more stringent than what we are currently using. And so the call will be sent out 15 days beforehand. It will only go to elected PCOs. We will post the call to meeting on the 3rd LD's Facebook page and Facebook group, as well as the website. And I don't have good of the order present, but if there is any good of the order, I would, without objection, I would be more than willing to entertain any announcements, typically positive announcements or information that you would like to share with your fellow PCOs before we formally adjourn the meeting. So is there any good of the order to for anyone that they would like to share?
I have a question. Did anyone win a contested race in the 3rd, or?
Yeah, we actually had, and Brooke, I know that you'd like to chat. Raphael, I actually was in a contested race, and we had 5 or 6 of our PCO races in a contested race, including our vice chair, Patty Irvin, who had 2 opponents. And Patty, with 2 opponents, did better than I did with 1 opponent. And she got nearly 2/3 of the vote against 2 opponents. I squeaked by with 55% of the vote. So yes, there can be contested races, and whatever you do, do not run against Patty Irvin, because she'll kill you in an elected race.
Well, you're in hot water. They're only squeaking by.
Yeah.
Stop.
And I take lessons,
So,
Patty.
I'm going to call her Patty Landslide Irvin.
Yeah.
But Patty, and she ran against 2 gentlemen, and it was obviously in her, at least her precinct, it was the year of the woman. Yeah. Brooke, I noticed that you wanted to have a good of the order.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I am moving from my precinct, and so will no longer be in the 3rd LD. So I will be resigning my PCO position, but I wanted to say thank you all. It's been a privilege to work with you in this election. And it's been nice to see the positive changes that have happened over my time as a PCO. So thank you all.
Thank you, Brooke, for your service and for your participation in today's meeting. Dan, did you wish to say anything? I saw that your light came on briefly.
No, that was an earlier question that I had that I've got the answer to it. Thank you very much for asking.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to share some good of the order? Nola.
Yeah, I just want to encourage everyone to support our Georgia and the 2 senators that are having that runoff, and let's flip the Senate.
Excellent good of the order. Anyone else that would like to share?
This is Mary.
Yes, Mary.
Just in between things here, I've been writing out postcards with Petey. So Petey Hoy is somebody you can get a hold of, and for Georgia's 2 races, and we need all the help we can get. So reach Petey Hoy, get some postcards, mail them out, and see if we can flip the Georgia.
Thank you so much, Mary Winkus. Anyone else with a good of the order?
Yeah, just really quick. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. You first.
I just want to say thanks to all you PCOs who show up every meeting and do the work. You guys are awesome, and I'm privileged and honored to be a part of this organization.
Thank you, Joanne. Andy McGee.
Has the expiration for the survey from the state passed yet?
I do not know. I know there was a time limit, and so what Andy is referring to is the state party is surveying current and the future PCOs to learn. You can voluntarily share with the state party your particular demographics and thoughts on diversity and issues that the state party could and should consider going forward. I encourage each and every precinct committee officer in the 3rd LD, if you have not yet responded to that survey, to look at the email that you received your call to meeting at. There is a survey from the state party organization, and you are encouraged to respond to that if you have not already done so. Any other good of the order? None appearing. Thank you to all of our appointed PCOs and those elected PCOs who will not be continuing because you chose not to run for office. Appointed PCOs, your term of office, Raphael, this includes you because your term is not continuing, but thank you to everyone who helped make the last 2 years a great last 2 years in the 3rd LD. We reelected Andy, Marcus, and Tim. We have caused our party going forward to be more progressive as an internal organization, more open and inclusive. And I wish you well during the holiday season. Stay safe, wear a mask, and try to listen to what the governor tells us so that we all can continue to be in good health. So thank you very much. And without objection, this meeting is adjourned.
I am going to object because I also want to say thank you to David Green and Patty Irvin, who have been great leaders in the 3rd LD. A lot of the work that happens is done by you folks behind the scenes, and it's a lot of it's thankless, and you do a fantastic job. So not to be a kiss butt, but thank you. I genuinely thank both of you. You've been fantastic, and I look forward to you both running again.
Well, thank you so much, Joanne. And we will once your e-board will be meeting via Zoom sometime in the next week or so. We'll figure out which version of the draft state party rules we would like to recommend implementation of, and then we'll be looking for officer announcements. I strongly encourage anyone who has an interest in running for office to declare an inclination. The PCOs decide who will be the leaders of our body. And so the elected PCOs at the meeting on December 5th will decide our leadership, and we will share broadly the candidates and backgrounds and statements of those individuals who are seeking to serve you, the body, for the next 2 years. So thank you so much. And this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Joanne.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks, PC.